Nightwing 126, Legacy number 313. Dan Waters writing with Francesco Francavilla on the art. So this is also a second half of a two-parter. Although this one's a bit more baked into the overall story in this run, I would say. So yeah, we get more of the Maggie Sawyer side of things. She's kind of the main character of this little mini arc, and there's some great stuff in here that I really like. Obviously, this idea of the Hollow, Captain Hollow, character who's going around taking revenge on any cops who have betrayed other cops, kind of thing. It's not supernatural, it turns out to be some corrupt cops who have got their hands on this old costume and are just using it as an excuse, basically. This is the scapegoat to take revenge.
He's literally the spirit of corruption. And I love that concept for Bloodhaven. Because, right, Bloodhaven's supposed to be even more crooked than Gotham. And so the idea that the cops got together to bring this thing, to life, which I do kind of like the idea that it's something they didn't come up with on their own, right? Like this was a legend amongst the cops, but just the fact that it's just these guys and it brings it back down. I thought that was a pretty good reveal.
Yeah, so you got that, and obviously Dick's looking into that. A lot of the story, though, in this one is actually more Maggie's personal life. She's meeting her girlfriend's daughter for the first time, and it's a lot of the kind of the social awkwardness of that, and trying to get to know her. And the daughter's very blunt about certain things, oh, you dating my mom, things like that. And then when she sees her badge, she's like, oh, my mom used to say not to trust the police. And her mom's like, oh, well, yeah, but Maggie's that was a long time ago. Things are different in Bloodhaven now. Maggie's one of the good ones, quote unquote.
I love that as one of the good ones. If you have to describe something as one of the good ones here, it's very awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I actually like is you get a quick flashback of the end of the previous issue with the going out the window and stuff with Nightwing, and it goes to Barbara and Dick talking about results in the lab or whatever. And what I really like is I feel like Francavilla typically has a lot of orange and blue, and I was laughing here because Dick's blue outfit and Barbara's orange hair were basically just fitting into his art style perfectly, because this is what he always does.
I feel like that's why he took the job. He was like, wait, I get to Nightwing and Babs? They're literally blue and orange. This is perfect.
This is his wheelhouse. This is what he's good at.
Yeah. Well, and also the green of whatever the computer's doing also offsets with it because it's not complementary, so it makes that stand out on the page even more. Just really good stuff. Yeah,
so basically they're deducing a bunch of stuff and saying, oh, whatever this outfit is, it's old. Like all the stuff that's on it, the fear toxin that used to be on it is ancient. All of its effects are gone. It's just it's a placebo. It's a mist effect and nothing more basically at this point. So there's more stuff with Maggie and the kid and the girlfriend, and one of the big things that comes up is one of the Ed 209 looking things from that are in Bloodhaven now walk past, and the girl gets scared, and Maggie's like, hey, you don't have to be scared, it's there to protect everyone, good people like you and your mom and the police who are trying to do their jobs. But that obviously becomes a big thing in this issue, is this idea of her feeling guilt that these things are scaring children. This idea of making all the kids scared just to feel safe is maybe a step too far. And of course, the fact that her job and her position, has an assassination attempt. Captain Hollow or the men pretending to be him come after her this night. It puts this girl and her girlfriend in danger because they're held at gunpoint. The daughter's grabbed as a hostage at one point, and Nightwing, luckily comes in and saves the day. But it's kind of this weird wake up call that just being connected to her is, this is the potential here. And not only that, the fact that this is corrupt cops who have been fired, but they also point out that stuff they're using was in an evidence locker, meaning they have at least one person they still trust on the force that's giving them stuff. So they've not completely cleaned house. There's still someone in there that's helping them.
It's still the corruption that's deep down. It's in the police force. It's almost baked in. And that's the commentary that I do like from Waters is so in a vacuum, the police are supposed to be these people that you can trust, right? But the more militarized they get and the scarier they are, and it makes it look like people that they start to look less like people, right? And more just like weapons. And here that actually takes the form of the Ed 209.
It's literal,
right? Like,
yeah,
it's meant to help, but it's not a person, right? It's not recognizable. So just the fact, like, when Maggie's like, it's not meant to be scary, but it's like, yeah, but it still is. And that's the problem. If we can't trust these people, then, it's just going to make things worse. So then the fact that the police, the corruption's so baked in even to these folks, like you said, they still have someone that's giving them stuff from the evidence locker. That's something that she's going to have to deal with as the commissioner and really go in deep. So I do like what the thread that Waters is running through here.
yeah. The other thing I like here as well is the daughter starts saying how like Nightwing like helps protect the city. Maybe you should work with him more. And Maggie's like, well, we have worked with him, but he doesn't quite follow the rules all the time, so we can't always do that. And this leads to an interesting thing where after Nightwing shows up and saves the day, and all the art here is great because the hollow kind of like gas mask and all that looks very atmospheric in the art and all that. But after Nightwing saves the day and Maggie's talking to Nightwing back at the scene of the crime, of the house where they're all hiding out, like she's basically reiterating what the daughter said and saying, "Damn, this is horrible. There's still corrupt cops. I really feel like I need someone to trust." And Dick says, "Sure would be nice." The implication being that maybe you should start to work with me a bit more. But Maggie kind of like just kind of starts yelling about why she doesn't just want to do that. It's like, hey, it's great that you're there, but we can't just always rely on the superheroes. We can't just always rely on the miracles that fall out of the sky. Like the people have to feel like they can take care of themselves, or it's not. It's kind of in almost the same way that like just relying on a bunch of robots doesn't work. Like you have to be able to feel like the people are able to take care of these things themselves. So yeah, and the ending's just kind of like further reiterating this idea. It's like a POV shot of whoever got the outfit out of the police station. So it feels like something we're going to come back to is whoever this cop was that did this.
Yep.
So no, I dug this a lot.
Yeah, I like that. And there's also when Maggie is talking with them at the kitchen table about about how Maggie learned to help people, and she was like, "Oh, a very special hero taught me," and it flashes over to Superman, and I just like that thread of Nightwing and Superman. For as much as Dick Grayson is Bruce's son, he's also not Superman's son exactly, but there's that almost uncle nephew kind of thing, and he's taken as much. Well, not as much from Batman, but he's taken some from Superman as well. So, like, if Maggie can learn to trust, or if Maggie had trusted Superman, she can learn to trust Nightwing. It's down that way, but she's also right that we can't just rely on the supers, right? We got to be able to be the police force that people trust. So it's easy to do that with Superman because everybody loves Superman, right? But it's going to be harder when it's someone like Nightwing. When last creative team, right? They had someone impersonating him, and there's probably still some of that out there. So I like the, not confusion, what's the right word? The conundrum that she has as commissioner. So that just drove it more.
I really liked that it dealt with her personal life in this, and this idea that like is this relationship going to survive this? Because like bad people showed up to this woman's house and like held a gun up to her kid's head. Like, even though it's not technically Maggie's fault, like she's going to attract this type of thing just by who she is and what her job is. So I think there's a kind of a tragedy element of this that makes it all have this kind of a tone, this like foreboding kind of element to it that just feels kind of sad. Like it feels like there's no happy ending here for Maggie. And yeah, I don't know, it just adds like a vibe to it. And then you've got the fantastic art on top of that adds so much mood to it. Yeah, no, this was great. No, this was a great little two-parter for the run. Excited to see where we go next. I think there's a lot of good running themes that have been going throughout, and even the previous stuff with the gangs like featured a lot of kids and a lot of like helping people who aren't necessarily just goody two shoes either. Like there's a lot of interesting layers to what Waters is doing with Bloodhaven right now.
Yeah. What I'm realizing with Waters from reading multiple books of his now is he's very much interested in the average person's perspective of things, right? Because we've gotten some of those in Dark Patterns. We got some of those in that Arkham book, right? In the Arkham, whatever that was called, with the 10-eyed man. he's very much interested in putting those in there with the perspective of the heroes. And I just feel like that's the overall theme here, is that, you know, we're seeing the heroes from the people's perspective, but then we're seeing the people from the heroes' perspective. And he balances that really, really well.
All right, what are you giving Nightwing?
It's a 9.
You know what? I hate to be boring. I've copied a lot of your ratings today, but that's a 9.